You have probably been told that visualization is the key to manifestation. Picture the life that you want, imagine the outcome, see it as if it is already yours. And if you're like most people, you tried it, you sat down, you closed your eyes, you imagined the house, the relationship, the bank account, the body. You felt excited for a few minutes and maybe even hopeful. But then you opened your eyes and nothing had changed. So you tried again the next day. And slowly that hope turned into frustration and then doubt. And then eventually you gave up, or you kept trying while secretly wondering if any of this actually works. If that is your experience, I want you to know something right now. You did not fail. The teaching failed you, because visualization does work, but not the way that you were taught. Not even close. The ancient teachers who created these practices thousands of years ago, they knew about two fundamental laws that make manifestation work. Two laws that are so essential that without them, visualization becomes nothing more than daydreaming. Two laws that 99% of modern teachers have completely forgotten or have never learned in the first place. And without these two laws, you can visualize every single day for the rest of your life, and reality will not move 1 inch. But when you understand these laws and you apply them correctly, manifestation stops being random and it starts being predictable. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what those two laws are, why modern manifestation teaching it violates both of them, and most importantly, how to use them correctly starting today. Now, before I explain, I'm not teaching this from theory. I have studied ancient Vedic texts and modern manifestation for over 20 years, and I have lived this. I've used these principles to heal myself from cancer, to rebuild financially from debt, and to manifest a healthy relationships after 40 odd years of choosing wrong relationships. And what I realized is that ancient and modern teachings, they point to exactly the same truth, but the modern version has lost two of the most essential pieces, two laws that make everything else work. And without these two laws, nothing that you do will create these lasting changes. And this is why visualization works for some people, sometimes, but not consistently. And this is why affirmations, they feel good in the moment, but they don't translate into results. And this is why you can feel motivated and inspired one day and then completely defeated the next day. You are missing the foundation. And today I'm going to give you that foundation. So if this is already resonating, then please hit that like button, because it tells me that this message is landing, and I'll create more content that breaks down what actually works instead of what just sounds good. So let us begin with the first law that the ancients understood perfectly, the law of Samskara. Now, if you've never heard of this word before, do not worry, I'm going to explain it in a way that makes complete sense. In Sanskrit, Samskara means impression. Not the impression that you make on someone when you walk into a room, the impression that gets carved into your consciousness through repetition. Think of it like this. Imagine that you are standing in a forest and there's no path, just dense trees and thick undergrowth everywhere. If you've walked through that forest once, You might have bent a few branches behind maybe a footprint or two in the soft dirt. But if someone walked through that same spot the next day, would they barely notice that you were there? I mean, the forest has already started to erase the presence that you were there. But now imagine that you walk through that same exact path every single day. Now, after about 3 days, the grass starts to flatten. After a week, there's a little bit of a faint trail. After a month, you got a clear path. And after a year, it's practically a roadway. So that is samskara. The yogic texts that are really clear about this process. Repeated impressions become tendencies, and tendencies become habits. Habits become identity, and identity becomes destiny. This is not a metaphor. This isn't poetry. This is the actual mechanical process of how consciousness shapes reality. And this applies to everything. Every thought that you repeat creates a samskara. Every emotion that you feel repeatedly carves a samskara. Every action that you take consistently carves a samskara. And over time, those samskaras become who you are. They become your default state. They become your automatic patterns. They become your identity. Now, here's what most people do not realize. You already have samskaras running in your life right now. If you struggle with money, you have samskaras around scarcity. If you struggle with relationships, you have samskaras around unworthiness or abandonment or mistrust. If you struggle with health, you have samskaras around your body being broken or unreliable. These samskaras were not created overnight. They were carved into your consciousness through years and past lifetimes of repetition, through childhood and pre-lifetime experiences that taught you the world is not safe, through relationships that taught you love always ends, and through failures that taught you that success is not for people like me. And that's the reason that manifestation has not worked for you. It's because so far you have been trying to overwrite deep samskaras with surface level visualizations. You visualize abundance for 5 minutes in the morning, but you spend the rest of your day feeling and acting from a samskara of lack. You visualize love for 5 minutes before bed, but you spend the rest of the next day believing deep down that you are not lovable. That 5 minutes visualization is like walking through the forest once. It is not enough to create a new path when the old road is so well worn that your nervous system just automatically takes you there without even thinking. So here's the truth that almost nobody tells you. If you want to manifest something new, you must create a new samskara, a new impression, a new identity. And that requires repetition, not once, not when you feel like it, consistently, deliberately, and with intention. Now, here is where modern manifestation teaching breaks this law completely. And most teachers, they tell you to visualize your dream life. The mansion in the hill, the yacht in the harbour, the perfect body that looks like a fitness model, the soulmate who looks like they stepped out of a romance movie. And then you sit down and then you try to imagine these things. Something happens in your nervous system and your body immediately recognizes that this is a fantasy. And it feels distant. It feels unreal. It feels like pretend, like a child imagining they're a superhero. And when your body knows that it's a fantasy, no samskara is being formed. No impression is being carved, and no identity is shifting. You are just daydreaming, and daydreaming does not change your state. It does not change your nervous system. It does not change your identity. The universe does not respond to imagination. It responds to identity. It responds to the signal that your nervous system is broadcasting. And if your nervous system does not believe what you are imagining, there is no signal. There is no coherence. There's no manifestation. So let me give you the correction right now. If you want to use visualization correctly, then you must visualize ordinary moments that feel so real to your body that you just can't tell the difference between imagination and memory. Not fantasy, familiarity. Not epic scenes that look like they belong in a movie. Everyday moments that feel like they could happen today. So let me give you specific examples so you can understand exactly what I mean. For wealth, do not imagine yourself walking through a $10 million mansion admiring the marble floors and the chandeliers from the ceiling. That feels like a dream. Instead, imagine this. You are standing at your front door at the end of the day. You've just come home from work or running errands or holiday. You put your key in the lock, you turn it, you hear the click, you push open that heavy door and you step inside. You close the door behind you, and as you hear that door close, you feel something in your body. Calm, stillness, that quiet confidence that everything is handled. Every bill is paid. There's plenty of money in your account. There is no anxiety in your chest, no tightness in your stomach, just peace. That 10-second manifestation, that's wealth. That feeling of safety, knowing that you are financially stable. Now, for love, you may be wanting love. Don't imagine a wedding on a beach at sunset with hundreds and thousands of people watching. That feels like a fairy tale. Instead, imagine this. You're standing in your kitchen. Maybe you're making tea or washing dishes or just looking out the window, and you feel some arms wrap around you from behind. The warm, the solid, the familiar. You can feel your partner's chest against your back. You feel their breath near your neck or near your ear. You feel them squeeze you gently. And in that moment, you feel something that your body recognizes. Safety, belonging, that knowledge that you are loved, and that this person chooses you every single day. That 10-second moment is love. Not the wedding, the feeling of being held by someone who is not going anywhere. And for health, imagine walking upstairs. Your breath is steady, your legs are strong, no heaviness, and you're reaching the top easily. That 10-second moment is health. Not the marathon, the everyday experience of your body working the way that it is supposed to work. Do you see the difference? These moments are ordinary. They are believable. They are so simple that your nervous system can accept them as real. And when your body believes the moment is real, it begins to form a samskara, an impression, a new pathway in your consciousness. And if you repeat that same 10-second loop every morning and every night for 10, 14 days, a month, you will see that something begins to shift. Like the first few days, it might feel like that you're pretending, but by day 5, 6, 10, 14, it starts to feel familiar. It feels like a memory. And when something feels like a memory, your identity has shifted. Your body knows what it's like to be the version of you who has that thing. And when your body knows, reality begins to reflect it. This is the first law. This is samskara. This is how you create a new identity through repetition of believable, ordinary moments. Not fantasy, familiarity. Now, before the second law, some of you I know cannot visualize. You close your eyes, you see no pictures or images, nothing's wrong with you. Because visualization is not about the visual. It never has been. The visual is just one doorway into the state. When someone visualizes closing their door and feeling the calm, the visual is not what creates the manifestation. The feeling of calm is what creates it. The picture is literally just a vehicle to access the feeling. So if you can't visualize, you feel. For wealth, close your eyes and feel the calm in your stomach, knowing everything is handled. That feeling is the samskara building. For love, feel the warmth. For safety, the knowing that someone is choosing you. Now for health, you feel the lightness in your chest perhaps, and in your legs, the strength. And if you can't feel either, then use knowing. Simply decide the version of you who has what you already want, and it already exists, and just live from that knowing. So whether you visualize, whether you feel, or whether you know, you are creating the same samskara. Okay, so now let's explain the second law that the ancients knew. And this is the law of dharana. And in Sanskrit, dharana means steady awareness, or more specifically, the ability to be able to hold your attention on one point without flickering, without distraction, without wavering off, without the collapse. Now, when the ancient Vedantic masters taught dharana, they were not talking about concentration in the way that we think about it today. They were talking about something way much deeper. They were talking about the ability to hold your awareness steady on a single state of being, to embody an identity so completely that your conscious doesn't drift back into the old version of yourself. Because here is what they understood. They understood that something that our modern teachers have completely forgotten. Awareness is what collapses probability into form. Let me say that again, because this is the foundation of everything. Awareness is what collapses the probability into actual form. Like, not hope, not wishing, not wanting, awareness. The act of observing from a particular state. Now, this is where modern science and ancient spirituality, they finally meet. In quantum physics, you may have heard, there is the observer effect. And scientists, they fire particles towards a screen with two slits. When no one observes it, the particle behaves like a wave. It goes through both slits simultaneously, and all possibilities, they open up. But the moment that a conscious observer watches the experiment, the particle collapses into a single point, chooses one slit. It becomes matter instead of probability. And this is happening all the time with everything. Your life is not fixed. It is not predetermined. It exists as a probability, as potential, as waves of possibility. And your awareness, your consciousness, your observation is what collapses those waves into the reality that you experience. This is manifestation, not imagination, not visualization, observation. The state from which you observe, the identity from which you hold your awareness. Let me make this practical so you understand what I'm saying. If you observe your life from the state of lack, you collapse into the wave, you collapse the wave into the experience of lack. If you observe life from the state of unworthiness, you collapse the wave into experiences that prove that you are unworthy. But if you observe your life from the state of abundance, you collapse the wave into experiences of abundance. If you observe life from the state of safety, you collapse the wave into experiences that confirm safety. If you observe your life from the state of being loved, then guess what? You collapse the wave into the experiences that prove that you are loved. Your awareness is the observer, and the state that you hold while you're observing is what determines which version of reality collapses into form. This is dharana, steady awareness, unwavering observation from the identity that you want to embody. And here is where most people, almost everyone, fails. You visualize for 5 minutes in the morning and you feel aligned, but within an hour you check your bank account and you feel anxiety. And awareness, it collapses back into lack. Or you're scrolling social media and you feel comparison. Awareness just collapses into, I'm not enough. Every time your awareness collapses, the signal that you're sending becomes incoherent. And this is why people say, I visualized for a month and nothing changed. You visualized for 5 minutes and then you spent 23 hours broadcasting the old signal. The universe cannot respond to that. Ancient teachers taught meditation as a way of life, not as a morning practice. They taught dharana as the foundation of reality creation, like holding your awareness steady on the identity that you are becoming no matter what happens. Now, holding dharana does not mean pretending, not pretending that everything is perfect. It means that you notice when your awareness begins to collapse. You acknowledge it. You breathe into it, and then you gently guide it back to the identity that you are becoming. Not from force, from choice. That is dharana. Being consistent. And when you combine dharana with samskara, when you combine steady awareness with repeated impressions, manifestation stops being a mystery and it starts being mechanical. Samskara creates the new identity through repetition. Your 10-second loop every morning and every night, it carves the pathway. Dharana maintains that identity throughout the day. Your awareness stays steady on the version of you that already has what it is that you want. Samskara builds the roads and dharana keeps you walking on it. And when you do both, reality has no choice but to respond. So now you can see very clearly why modern manifestation teaching fails. It violates both laws. First, it violates the law of samskara. Most teachers tell you to visualize your dream life, the mansion, the luxury, the fantasy version of success that looks good on Instagram. And when you try to imagine those things, your nervous system immediately recognizes it as fantasy. It feels distant. It feels unbelievable. It feels like something that happens to other people, but not to you. And when your body doesn't believe it, when it doesn't believe what you are imagining, then no samskara is being formed. No impression is being carved into your consciousness. You're not creating a new identity. You're just entertaining yourself with pleasant thoughts. And pleasant thoughts, they do not change your reality. Identity changes your reality. And second, it violates the law of dharana. Even if somehow you manage to create a believable, big visualization, most teachers give you no tools to maintain that state throughout the day. They tell you to visualize for 5 or 10 minutes and then they send you on your way as if that's enough. As if 5 minutes of an aligned state can override 23 hours and 55 minutes of old patterns It cannot. Your awareness is not steady. It flickers, it collapses, it drifts back into the old state over and over and over. And every time it drifts, the signal that you are sending to the quantum field, it becomes weaker. No samskara, no identity shift, no manifestation, no dharana, no steady awareness, no manifestation. So modern teaching fails on both fronts. And this is why people try manifestation for years and they see no results. They were never taught the actual mechanics. Now let me show you something that proves this. Think about the things in your life that you have manifested effortlessly. Not the things that you tried to manifest, the things that just appeared. Maybe it was a friendship that felt natural from the first conversation. Maybe it was a job opportunity that landed in your lap at the perfect time. Or maybe it was a creative idea that flowed through you without any effort. When you look back at those experiences, you will notice something. You were not trying to manifest them. You were not visualizing them every single day. You were not affirming them or making vision boards or doing rituals. You were just being the version of yourself for whom those things were natural. You had already formed the samskara. You already held the identity. And as you maintained dharana without even realizing it, because the state felt so familiar that you did not have to work at it, that is effortless manifestation. And when identity and awareness align so completely, I keep saying it, reality has no choice but to reflect it. This is what manifestation mechanics is built on. I teach you to create believable, ordinary moments that form samskaras. And I teach you to maintain dharana throughout the day so that your state does not collapse. Because when you combine both laws, manifestation stops being hopeful and it starts being mechanical. So let me give you the exact process. And step one is choose your ordinary moment. Pick one simple, everyday scene that represents the outcome that you want. Not a huge fantasy, not something that feels impossible. An ordinary moment that feels so real that it could be a memory. Now, your moment needs to be 10 seconds long, not 5 minutes, not a whole story, 10 seconds, because your nervous system can hold a 10-second moment without drifting. It's short enough to stay focused and it's simple enough to feel believable. It's ordinary enough that your body can accept it as real. And you need to make your moment sensory, not just visual. Okay, so yes, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel physically? What do you feel in your body? The more sensory detail that you can include, the more it feels real. And the more it feels real, the stronger the samskara is that you create. Step two, you loop it twice daily, every morning and every night. Close your eyes and run this 10-second loop for 1 full minute. Keep repeating the loop. This means around about 6 times in a row. Now, when you repeat it 6 times, by the time the 6th time, it feels almost like a memory. And as I said, when something feels like a memory, your body, it cannot tell the difference between imagination and reality. That is when the samskara forms. Do this every morning and every night for 14 days straight. You'll notice at least after 10 days, the moment starts feeling familiar, even when you're not visualizing. That is the samskara taking root. Now, step 3, stabilize your state throughout the day. Creating the samskara through the morning and the night, those loops is only half of the process. The other half is maintaining dharana throughout the day, holding steady awareness on the identity that you are becoming, even when life tries to pull you back into the old pattern. 2 simple tools to help you out with this. Tool 1, I call it the morning reset. Before checking your phone, place your hand on your belly and breathe slowly. In for 4 counts, out for 6 counts. 5 full breaths. This is scientific. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It tells your body that you are safe. And safety creates coherence. You can do this at any time of the day. Tool number 2. I love this one. Works so well. It's called drishti. In other words, gazing. Anytime that your state begins to collapse, find a point at arm's length. Look at it. There's a little mark there on the wall. Gaze at it. Softly. Look through it. Don't stare at it. 30 seconds to 1 minute if you can. Gazing through that point. This stabilizes your nervous system. And it creates a pause where you can guide yourself back. Use this multiple times a day, whenever you can, whenever you notice that your state is slipping. This is used in martial arts, in ancient techniques, so many places. Now, I need to address something that causes a lot of people to give up right before their manifestation arrives. So they start doing the work. They create their 10-second loop. They practice it morning and night. They maintain their state throughout the day. And after a week or 2, they start to feel discouraged because nothing has changed yet. They look at their bank account and it's still the same. They look at their relationship status, it's still the same. And they think, well, it's not working. But here is what you must understand. Manifestation is not a straight line from A to Z. Between A and Z, or Z, I'm getting too Americanized. I must keep my British roots. Between A and Z, there are 24 other letters that must fall into place. And each represents an event. It could be a person, it could be a timing. You cannot skip from A to Z. Imagine solving a Rubik's Cube. You turn one side and perhaps 3 red squares line up. Hey, progress! Then you twist another side for the blues and those 3 reds, well, they scatter again. It looks like you've moved backwards, but it's not. You made a necessary move to align a different part. Eventually, you twist one final side and the entire cube, it just clicks into place instantly. And that is how manifestation works. You are not going backwards when things do not look perfect yet. You are aligning pieces that you can't even see. The universe is twisting events behind the scenes, and sometimes those twists look like setbacks. It could be a job that falls through, a relationship that ends. But what if that job fell through because a better one is coming? What if that relationship ended because you needed to become ready for real love? You don't have the full picture, but the universe does. Just because that you have not seen the final result, it does not mean that it's not in motion. The universe is lining people up, timing events that you cannot see yet. Your job is to maintain your state. Knowing every twist is part of the journey. And here's what most people don't realize. The moment that you stabilize your state, point Z was already done. Not in the future, but right now. In the quantum field, the version where you have what you want is already real. It's already formed. You are just catching up to it in time. Think of ordering something online. The moment that you clicked or pressed purchase, it became yours. But it has to go through the shipping process. The entire time that it was in transit, it was already yours. You just waited knowing that the delivery is on its way. That is manifestation. The moment you held coherent awareness, you placed the order. It's already yours. You're waiting for reality to catch up through the events that need to unfold. So when you feel discouraged, remember, you are not waiting for the universe to decide. You are waiting for the intermediate steps to align at the exact right time. Just keep looping your 10-second scene, using the tools, being the version for whom the thing that you want is already natural. Because every day that you do that, you move through another letter towards point Z or Z. And then one day, sooner than you think, you will wake up there. Not because you forced it, because you allowed it to unfold. So as a reminder, this is your daily practice. Morning, 5 breaths with your hand on your belly. Then 1 minute looping your 10-second scene with senses, hearing, feeling, etc. Throughout the day, any time that your state collapses, use drishti. That's the gazing on a single point, through it, not at it. And bring yourself back. And then be that person again that you should be. Nighttime, one minute looping your 10-second scene before you go to sleep. That's it. 2 minutes of visualization, 5 minutes of breath in the morning, and 30 seconds or so of gazing, or whatever it is, however much you need throughout the day. This is not hours of work. This is not complicated spiritual practice. This is simple mechanical repetition that creates samskara and maintains dharana. And when you do this consistently for 10 to 14 days, 20 days, 30 days, you will notice reality beginning to shift. Not because you hoped it would, but because you became the version of yourself for whom that reality is natural. This is the truth that the ancients already knew thousands of years ago. And this is the truth that modern science is beginning to uncover through quantum physics. This is the truth that teachers like Neville Goddard pointed toward, even though they did not even use these exact words or descriptions. This is the truth that manifestation mechanics is built on. You do not manifest with imagination. You manifest with identity. Samskara creates identity through repeated impressions. Dharana maintains identity through steady awareness. And when you combine both, reality has no choice but to respond. Not because you wished hard enough, not because you believed strongly enough, but because you became the version of yourself for whom the thing that you want is already natural. Are you getting this? Are you hearing it? You became the observer who collapsed probability into that specific form. If you want to truly understand manifestation at a deeper level, then go back and watch the first 5 videos on this channel, watch them in order, then watch the rest from then, because everything that I've loaded onto this channel, it builds per video onto the next one and the next one, and then watch this one again. Make this your reality. Understand what manifestation mechanics is all about. And if you are serious about making this work, then subscribe to this channel right now, because I am breaking down the mechanics that most people never talk about. I'm not charging you for any of this. I'm not here to sell you hope. I'm here to teach you how reality actually works so that you can use it deliberately. I do coach people privately, but you don't need that. You can do it from just watching these videos. Drop a comment if you like. Let me know what laws that you've been breaking, whether it's samskara or dharana or both. Be honest with yourself as well. You know, most people, they break both. They visualize fantasies that don't create impressions, and they let their state collapse like 5 minutes after they've started visualizing in the daytime. But you know better. You know what actually works. And now you have the tools to apply it. My name is Dion Goldsmith, and this is Manifestation Mechanics. Your state is your creation. Your identity is your destiny. And when you embody these 2 ancient laws every single day, reality will meet you there. Not someday, not eventually, but faster than you think. Thank you for joining me here today. Maybe I'll see you in the next video.